Arrogance leads to failure because it causes overconfidence and prevents learning from mistakes. So how was it that Floyd Mayweather, the most arrogant man in boxing, managed to become the most successful boxer of all time? Floyd was born on February 24th, 1977 in Grand Rapids, Michigan. His family had a rich history in boxing, with his father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., being a former welterweight contender who fought Hall of Famer Sugar Ray Leonard, and his uncles being Jeff and Roger Mayweather, who were also professional boxers. Roger would also end up winning 2 world championships and had an extensive career facing Hall of Famers Julio Cesar Chavez, Pernell Whitaker, and Costa Tszyu, just to name a few. From day one, it was clear that boxing would take over Mayweather's life, and he never considered any other profession. This would lead to him dropping out of high school to pursue boxing further. Growing up, he had a dreadful childhood, frequently finding heroin needles in his front yard on his way home from school. His mother was also addicted to drugs, and his father would only ever spend time with him when he was at the boxing gym. This resulted in Floyd training in the gym as much as he could because it kept him away from the evil around him whilst letting him spend time with his father. His father would later be incarcerated when Floyd had just turned 16 for drug trafficking, and this led to Floyd putting all his energy into boxing. He wanted to take care of his family, and he knew that school wasn't going to be the way that he would earn a living. Floyd would fight as an amateur wherever he could, compiling an impressive record of 84 wins and 8 losses. He would start his illustrious amateur career by winning the National Golden Gloves in 1993, then in 94, and in 96. It was clear early on that his defensive prowess was elite, as his teammates began calling him Pretty Boy because he would never get bruises or scars. This defense was a result of the defensive techniques that were passed down to him from his father, Floyd Mayweather Sr., and Uncle Roger. He would switch between using a strong high guard to walk opponents down and a shoulder roll, which is an old school boxing technique in which the right hand is held at the chin whilst the left hand is held down, blocking the midsection. The lead shoulder is also kept high on the cheek to cover and block punches coming up. From this stance, Floyd was able to block, slip, deflect, and counter most of his opponent's punches. By 1996, he was one of the best amateurs in the country, with over 80 wins, national titles, and recognition for his skill. The only thing left was the prestigious Olympic gold medal, the ultimate prize for any amateur boxer seeking glory. At the 1996 Olympics in Atlanta, Floyd would start the tournament by stopping Bakhtiar Tilganov of Kazakhstan. He would then outpoint Artur Gevorgyan of Armenia, and in a shocking upset, he would narrowly defeat Lorenzo Aragon of Cuba, becoming the first US boxer to defeat a Cuban in 20 years. However, this glory was short-lived because in his next bout, Mayweather would lose by a controversial decision to Serafim Todorov of Bulgaria and would be forced to go home with a bronze medal. The US team would try to file a protest over the bout because many people believed that the judges were intimidated by the head of the boxing officials, who happened to be Bulgarian. This heartbreaking loss after years of build-up and training caused him to fall out of love with amateur boxing, resulting in Floyd turning pro that same year. Floyd would win his first bout by knocking out newcomer Roberto Apodaca in round 2. His trainer at the time was his uncle Roger Mayweather, as his father was still in prison for drug trafficking. Floyd would put together 17 straight wins, with most of them coming by knockout, before finally getting a chance at his first world title against 2-time world champion Guillermo Hernandez for the WBC super featherweight title. What most people don't know is that Floyd was actually a long-time fan of Hernandez, hanging a poster of him in his bedroom. Regardless of how much Floyd admired him, Floyd would put a beating on him, winning by 8th round technical knockout and becoming the lineal champion of the division. Floyd would defend this title 8 times, with 5 of these coming by knockout, before eventually moving up to face Jose Luis Castillo for the lightweight titles. Castillo at the time was the reigning WBC lightweight champion and had proved himself to be a strong champion with his 3 title defenses, but many fans were in awe of Floyd and believed that he would get past Castillo with relative ease. This turned out to not be the case because Castillo was able to draw the agile, flash boxer into a toe-to-toe battle. This resulted in Castillo having success during the middle rounds, and as the fight progressed, it seemed like Castillo's pressure and power was starting to wear Mayweather down. Castillo would end up finishing strong with a dominant 12th round, but his slow start in the early rounds would ultimately cost him the fight. The fight, however, was still close enough for a rematch to be signed. This time around, Floyd made sure to use his superior footwork, combination punching, and jab to coast to an easy decision. This was where we started to see the transformation of Floyd from Pretty Boy to Money Mayweather. His footwork and defense was so far above his competition that he could maneuver his way into a decision win without taking high damage like he did from his first fight with Castillo. Floyd would defend this new title twice before moving up a weight class to face the all-action pressure fighter Arturo Gatti for his WBC super lightweight title. Floyd would face Gatti in New Jersey, where the fans heavily supported Gatti, so Floyd came in playing the role of the villain, trash-talking Gatti, saying he was a C-plus fighter and a fake. Floyd would end up battering Gatti, putting him for a beating for 5 rounds by landing quick combinations and blasting Gatti to a point where Gatti couldn't even return fire. It honestly looked like Gatti owed Floyd money. He would then move up again to face fast southpaw Zab Judah for his IBF welterweight title. Judah started fast as expected, and his hand speed caused a lot of problems for Floyd. He even managed to catch Floyd, knocking him down. However, this was ruled a no knockdown. After round 5, however, things would change. Judah started to slow down, and Floyd managed to start catching Judah, dominating the rest of the fight. After this fight, Floyd would split up with Bob Arum to start his Mayweather Promotions so that he was able to get a bigger piece of the pie. Floyd felt that he wasn't being given the spotlight he deserved, and he believed he could generate larger paydays by being a free agent. He would end up buying out his contract from Bob Arum for $750,000, a decision which paid off and resulted in him becoming one of the highest earning athletes in the world. Floyd would go on to face gold medalist and Golden Boy superstar Oscar De La Hoya for the light middleweight title. The bout set the record for the most pay-per-view buys for a boxing match with 2.4 million buys, breaking the previous record of 1.95 million from Evander Holyfield versus Mike Tyson 2. They generated about 120 million in revenue, with De La Hoya taking 58 million and Mayweather earning 25 million. Oscar started the fight strong, cutting the ring off and attempting to attack Floyd's body against the ropes. Although it looked like Floyd was being pressured, many of De La Hoya's punches were ineffective and landed on Mayweather's arms or shoulders. Mayweather would turn the fight around towards the middle and late rounds, opening fire on Oscar with little to no response. Floyd would end up walking away with a split decision win and would retire from boxing, stating that there was nothing left for him to achieve. Floyd would end up being tempted back into boxing with a lucrative fight against Ricky Hatton. The fight took place in the MGM Grand Garden Arena and was billed as the biggest welterweight showdown ever between 2 undefeated fighters. Floyd would end up controlling Ricky throughout the fight and would eventually find the knockout in the 10th round. He caught Ricky throughout the fight using the check left hook, which is designed to turn a charging opponent. Floyd would catch Hatton with the same shot, which caused him to fall headfirst and hit the floor. He managed to get back on his feet, but after another quick knockdown, the referee stopped the fight. Following this fight, the rest of Floyd's career would follow a similar pattern of retiring and having comeback fights. He also doubled down on his personality and became as unlikable as possible, regularly taunting his opponents and their fans. This resulted in people watching him to see him lose. At this point, Floyd wasn't chasing titles anymore. It didn't matter to him if he had a title or not. He was bigger than the belts, and people were going to watch him regardless of if he had a title or not. He would only come back in the ring to fight worthy challengers who came with a massive payday. This included Victor Ortiz, Miguel Cotto, Robert Guerrero, Canelo Alvarez, Marcos Maidana twice, Manny Pacquiao, and Andre Berto. He would win these fights by unanimous decision, and his transformation into Money Mayweather was complete. He was no longer aiming for the knockout. He just wanted to score points and evade danger. He maximized his defense and kept his conditioning at a high level, making sure to never be out of shape and always be ready for the phone call. His style was no longer entertaining for the casual fan, but this no longer mattered because people weren't watching him for his skills. They wanted to see him lose. At this point, Floyd was 49-0, and with his promotion company filing for the trademarks of TBE 50, it was clear that he was going for the final win to cement his career. In 2016, rumors started to circulate of a crossover fight between Mayweather and MMA star Conor McGregor. After months of negotiations, in 2017, the two would finally sign a contract, with Mayweather having a guaranteed purse of $100 million and McGregor being guaranteed $30 million. During the fight, McGregor would start out strong, but it was clear that his engine wasn't modified to last the 12 rounds. He would punch himself out, and Mayweather would start putting together his combinations in the later rounds. Mayweather would go on to win via TKO in the 10th round, surpassing Rocky Marciano and setting the record for the longest active unbeaten streak in a professional career at 50-0. Sky Sports would announce that the fight had over 1 million pay-per-views, and Mayweather was reported to have earned over 300 million from the fight, while McGregor earned around 100 million. Now, although Mayweather has retired, he is far from done with boxing. Mayweather found that he could generate large amounts of money by participating in exhibition fights. He could make millions from fighting entertainers or people nowhere near his level, so these fights would end up being easier than the fights he had as a pro, whilst netting him millions. A lot of these fights are massive mismatches and aren't really worth watching. They honestly feel like controlled sparring sessions, but to be fair to Floyd, he came up the hard way and he deserves all the success that he has today. To this day, Floyd remains undefeated. He used his arrogance as a weapon and created an empire. It doesn't matter to him what you think of him, love him or hate him, you still watched him. Let me know what you guys think of Floyd in the comments below.